different ways you can strap the wrist, the thumb. As I said, you'll find different variations. You can do the check rein at the back to stop a person from going into flexion. And you can do that for the thumb as well, or we're discussing that. You can do that for the fingers, where you put your strips, just like the elbow, the way you stop the knee, where you stop the hyperextension of the elbow and knee. You can put check reins to try and pull that into position. You can do the same for the wrist. I tend to follow the boxers. So do you ever see the boxers before they put it into the glove? They have that hold that hand and wrist strapped up. I tend to follow that format, to be honest with you. Now, that's just for an ordinary person that just wants their wrist stabilised in whether it be flexion or extension, just to create that stability. However, you'll find a lot more and more, because there's carpal bones, the raw carpal bones between each other. So obviously you have the scaphoid, lunate, triquetral, capitate, pisiform, trapezoid, triquetral, and the hamate. Okay? So obviously raw and raw bones. So you have to think about assessing those bones. What's happened to the glide? Is the person caught in supination, that they cannot supinate, or pronate? So you need to look at that glide of the bones and see are they blocked in either one of them and mobilise it. Now, if you find that that is the problem, or the carpal bones have gone off, I call it kind of door hinges effect, whereby it's just either move laterally or medially, that stop and that block of that extension then, because that's the most, it's like the ankle. The wrist will get easily blocked in extension. Well then what you'll have to find is that you get in, find the glide that's going to give them maximal relief. So oftentimes I'd have a patient goes, oh, that's as far as I can go, I can't get anywhere back. Okay, I said, grand. So I will mobilise and find the glide. So I will mobilise, and then I will get the patient then say, right, David, I want you to bring back with your other hand. So I glide them, and with your other hand, I want you to pull your hand back into extension. And all of a sudden they go, oh wow, that's much better. So yeah, because I've kind of corrected the door hinge. It's opening, but it's not opening, it's not the way a door hinge is stiff, it's just not free open. So now you've corrected the glide, so now you have those carpal bones gliding on top of each other perfectly, and that's what helps. So you find the glide. So I might do AP glide, I might do a medial to lateral glide, and I'll keep checking until I get the best glide effect to try and stabilise, because those ligaments have been shot. Now, once I find the glide, I will tape, not with any of these, I will tape with the Leukotape then, because I find that to be the strongest tape to actually try and maintain that position. So by doing that, if I glide it this way, I will pull my roll of tape in that direction. If I had to glide this way, I'll pull my roll of tape this way with the Leukotape. And I would just go, virtually imagine this is the Leukotape, and we found the lateral glide being the best. I would literally put my underwrap on, and then from this position, I will just pull, just do one strip at a time, block with the Leukotape, and go again, pull, back round. And just to try and stabilise that joint. Their home exercise then will be self-mobs, where they have to stabilise the wrist, and they get their shoulder over the wrist. So they go pain on, pain off, just like your ankle mobility that you're trying to get greater range of motion. But you will see patients like that. They'll go, oh, that's as far as I can go. Okay, start there and just gently mobilise it until they can go straight up over. So that's what you're trying to do. That's your home exercise, trying to work on that stability of the that mobility in the wrist joint. So if I was to strap up then for a wrist, try and stabilise that wrist joint, what I tend to do then, some players like this and some people don't, you put tape, another anchor, so the anchor goes under just the metatarsals, just before. Now from here, I will come down just to that joint here, and I crisscross, trying to stabilise as much on that joint as possible. And then I come back up and do the exact same on the other side. Down, come back up. So you end up having two X's, one on this side and one on this side. And you just repeat that probably 3 on either side. So same again, it's like the ankle joint. We're trying to lock it up, whichever position for both medial and lateral, or in this case, flexion, extension. That's it. So you have both sides done about 3 times and then just anchor it off. So you're trying to stabilise the wrist as best you can, and that's what the boxers will end up doing. And then they cover the thumb just before they put it into the glove. They're trying to have that wrist stabilised so that it doesn't go flexion or extension. They can keep it in that neutral position as best they can. But you can do different variations, as I said. If you want to block flexion, then you can do your block from anchor to anchor. As I said, just kind of a check rein type scenario, and then re-anchor that. So if you wanted to increase the effect of, you want to block that into flexion, the person cannot flex, anchor that, and then that's going to stop flexion, or vice versa. You can do check reins here, and it's going to stop them extension. And that's really the wrist. So it's not, as I said, once you have the X going on one side and the X on the other side, you're just stabilising that neutral position, trying to keep that stability from the ligaments just after being stretched and overstretched due to a fall, outstretched hand, etc. Whatever pressure that put onto it, that overstretched it. And that's basically it. Okay.